Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all viewers wherever you are on the planet. By courtesy of Gossip TV and my humble self, Amma Peters, welcome again to another episode of my talks. I would like to give a very brief summary of what we've been doing so far so new viewers can understand and old viewers can finally find out why I am doing this thing. I'm doing this interviews and talks purposely because although I am Ghanaian, I grew up more or less in Europe, and so it was in Europe that Europeans actually showed my culture to me on TV. So anytime I was watching episodes on African traditions, cultures and spirituality, I was very devastated because although I was about 18 years when I left Ghana, so the imprints of my culture, my tradition and my spirituality were already in my soul. So the things I was seeing in Europe about my culture did not correspond with what I knew, and in fact I really felt insulted at certain times. If you look at spirituality of Africa, you will see dolls with nails and all this kind of darkness about the African spirituality, and I really knew that it is not true. I'm not saying they don't exist, but that is not African spirituality. You cannot portray that. We can't portray that as African spirituality. So I'm using this opportunity through the Ewe language of the Volta region in Ghana to explain to people when Ghanaians talk about spirituality, about their wisdom, what they really mean or what they are talking about. So it's not always about some dark dolls that people put nails in and some blood sacrifices. No. Like most people on the planet, the Ghanaians also, or the black man, had only one thing to relate to in developing himself. It was nature. And our people related very much to nature. They didn't have any doctrine, they didn't have any teacher, any spiritual leader. So the only teacher they had was the nature. So the language is very much natural. Everything we say in the Ewe language is in accordance with what nature sees it. For examples, we will say in Ewe, space, as the British or the English will say space, we will call it haha. To haha means to accommodate. So for our space is the accommodator. That's how people call it. Or we say water, we call it growth. At sea means to grow, growth. Because they saw when the water comes on the plant, things grew. Or maybe somebody has a calabash or a pot of water in the kitchen. After a while, they look into it, they find little lives taking form in the water. So they got to understand that water is growth. So our language are very, very direct. So I'm using this opportunity to explain again to viewers all over the world what we mean, what our spirituality is, our perception of things. Our perception of things is just what nature says. So here's again, this is the third episode of my podcast, and today I'm going to talk about virtues. What are virtues? What are virtues? Before that, I would like to say a very big thank you to all Ghanaians today. I'm very impressed with all the things that are going on in the world with Ukraine and Russia, post-COVID, our own financial situation. Our country belongs to IMF right now. The financial situation of our country is really horrible, but I'm impressed about how Ghanaians, with all these difficulties, are very, very patient. There are no riots anywhere. Nobody's on the street shouting. So to all Ghanaians today, all I'll say is Ayiko, I love this patience of the Ghanaians. We've done so well. We don't go rioting because things are not in order. Yes, so it is not unusual that Ghana is supposed to be one of the most peaceful countries in the world, and we have to be very proud of it. So talking about that now, we take now the virtue of patience and all other virtues, how they look like in our languages. In Ewe, we call patience, we call it Dzigbordi. That's what the Ewes call patience. And Dzigbordi actually explains a process of how patience takes place. It's not only a word, it is a process. A G means in Ewe the heart. Bo is the breath. D is down. So when we say you should be patient, they are asking you to drop your heart to the earth. Just drop your heart to the earth. Because what we do most of the time, we wake up and our heart is stuck in the middle of our chest. We all go out to face the world, to fight the world. Our jobs, our schools, I don't know what we are looking for. So our hearts actually never touch ground. So a G. And the word G itself, which is the heart itself, it means that brings forth. To bring forth. Like a child is being born, Ola Devia G. And it's the same word that we use for the moon. The moon is also something that brings forth. So our grandmothers used to use the moon to plant their vegetables. They knew when to plant small vegetables, they knew with the moon. And today we know scientifically it's being proven also it's like that. So in a way the Ghanaian languages are, the Ewe language is very scientific. It is just what nature is saying. It's not a doctrine. So in any case, today I want to bring this thing to virtues, what virtues are. Virtues are, some of them are, like we said, patience is a very, very important virtue. And like the Ewe language has explained, it's something you do. You have it. You have the ability to produce you have the ability to invoke patience. All you have to do is keep still and drop the heart. Don't make it tense. Just leave it. Let's just allow the heart to flow, right? It's a very, very important thing because patience is everybody knows what patience is. But most of the time we think patience is for the other. I'm talking to somebody and people will say I should be patient with him. No, you have to be patient with yourself. All these virtues are tuned to you to use for your own comfort. It's not for the other. The other should do it for himself also. So patience in our culture means drop your heart to the earth. The earth is the mother of all things. It is where things grow. So it's like don't be generous. So in patience there's also generosity towards the earth. So which other virtues do we have already? The reason why I'm saying this is that we don't know the value of virtues. We don't know that they are tools to be used for purposes that fulfill our lives. It is not an attitude. Our virtues are not attitudes. So this person is a very patient person. No. It doesn't matter whether he's if he's a patient person, then his life should be very, 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 very beautiful. He should be prosperous. He should have money. He should have children. He should have a good wife. He should have a good home. If we are patient, these things must happen. So we mimic a lot of things. We mimic them because a lot of times we exchange virtues with attitude. People have a bit of attitude. They know how to make their face to look as if they're patient. But are we really doing them? Another virtue I'd like to talk is what we mean by humbleness. In ever, Amadoku Bobo, that's what we say. Bobo means to soften yourself. It's porous so that things can penetrate through. So it is not an attitude, it is a mechanism that a human being has for purposes to enrich his life. So if you are going for an interview somewhere, you are working with a company and you do not know how to soften yourself, nothing can penetrate through you. It's as simple as that. It's not because you're a good person. It's got nothing to do with whether it's good or not. Virtues have nothing to do with good or bad. They are their own place. So like I said, patience is something that you need for your life. Not because it's good. It is what it is. Humbleness is to become soft. So that things it's like porous. We see the earth like soil, like where we're sitting now, but the earth is porous. Otherwise, the waters cannot go through. The rain cannot fall through. To touch the root of the root of the plants, for them to grow. And we are also, as you see, our skin is also earth. We are also earth. Our body is earth. So therefore, if we do not soften, if we don't open, if we don't open our pores, that's what humility. What does that humbleness actually means? It's not because you're a good person. You sit there with a nice face, and then people say you don't talk. You pretend you are shy, and people say you are humble. It's got nothing to do with that. These are technical things you have to use, and these are the things. It's not for somebody. It's for you. These are God-given things for you to use to enhance your life on the planet. Another virtue will be maybe simplicity. Simplicity is a very important virtue that we overlook. Why? You see, like most people, we are coming to acknowledge certain things of our lives as if they are reality. You come from a family with a big name. Maybe your father was a chief, a king. Your father was a minister, a president. I don't know what. So we come from a very popular family. So you grow up with that kind of atmosphere behind you. So you grow up in an atmosphere, built-up atmosphere of the child of the president. So that becomes your reference. But it is not correct as far as nature is concerned, because nature does not know what a president is. So you need to go beyond that. If you cannot go beyond that and you keep yourself tied in the history of your family because your father is a president or your father is an MP or a chief, that is not simplicity. It means you are not touching nature. You have built a castle around yourself. So you are actually isolated. So simplicity is a very, very powerful thing. It means as long as we can go, we try to eliminate all barriers that we have created. Because you're a businessman, you don't talk to your workers well because you are the businessman. Because you are rich, people have to talk to you the certain way. It's not that it's bad, but it is not good for any of us. We have to reduce ourselves. So you see, if you look into the space now, this space that is carrying all of us, is accommodating, even it is in itself very empty. It is carrying the whole world, all the mountains, all the rivers, the rain, the sun, the moon. But this space is the most simplest thing you can think of. So what about me and you now? Why are you carrying so much burden of your family history, your educational history, your money? I mean, we should sometimes just take a look and look at what are we really doing. You see, the thing is, the more we do that, the more we are cut off from reality. It doesn't help us. Yeah, so that would be talking about virtues. I know that as far as Ghanaian language or the Ewe language is concerned, there's a lot of emphasis on virtues. But what we have not been told properly is that we think we use virtues to relate to somebody, but they are for us. Virtues are for us. It's a God-given thing that we use to enhance our own lives. To be patient is for you, it's not for the other. I don't have to be patient towards my cameraman who is standing in front of me. I have to be patient with myself. It is not for him. He should use his patience for himself. And I use mine for myself. So all these virtues are God-given techniques, I will call them, to help you live a comfortable, beautiful life. So sometimes we misunderstand these things. And so I think we should put a lot of emphasis on this thing. Simplicity is very important, because in a country like ours, used to colonial rule and slavery and all that, we are used to being obedient. We use obedience a lot, and we exploit it. We exploit a lot of the youth, because we think they have to be obedient. Because it's just something we took over. I used to say, if you take the Western world and you compare it to Africa, there are two words that look similar: obedience and respect. We took obedience, and the white man took respect. Well, personally, I prefer respect, because if you respect something, you cherish the thing, you like it, you appreciate it. But if you use only obedience, you're just being. You have no view of yourself. And unfortunately, we, the elders or people who are older in this society, we use obedience a lot to exploit other people, our workers, our children, people who are younger than us. We think we deserve to be obeyed. But I don't think that is simplicity. That is arrogance, actually. For the fact that you are older than somebody doesn't mean the person has to be doing what you, for the fact that you are the owner of a business, for instance, it means that everybody involved in that entity is part of it. Otherwise, that thing cannot stand. So we have to see things like that. We must try. to see things like that. So these are virtues. And I'll be very, very specific here. My father had only one advice when I was growing up. He said, giving people advice without them asking you is an insult. You only give advice when you have been asked. Apart from that, you are just being insulted. The person is seeing you as a fool. Why is he advising you if you have not asked him? So, dear viewers, please, I'm not advising anybody here. I'm just sharing views and experience that I have gathered. And you can go into it and take some of it if it appeals to you. So this is not an advice that we should do this or we should do that. It's very, very important for me. Just look at it, scrutinize it yourself, and if it suits you, you can make use of it. I'm not a teacher and I'm not a pastor. I'm a very simple person who have gone through some experience in life, and I'm sharing it here. So I wish everybody will do it according to his own experience. Yes. So this is not a teaching place where people have to come and find out what is life about, and then write it down and go start behaving with it. No. Yeah, so that will be one of it. What else can one talk about? I'm always coming back to the Ghanaian languages. I think we should really, Ghanaians, I beg all of us, we should really take a closer look at our languages. We are not relating to our languages. We are not relating to them. And I don't think it is helping us because, well, I speak Ebe, I speak Ga, I speak Twi, I speak English, I speak German. And if anybody is so diverse in language, you will then come to see the value of language. Extremely. And I will very honestly say, with all these languages I know, I think Ebe is supreme for the languages that I know. Because it is so direct. It just says the things as they are, with no dilution or no hypocrisy. Yes. So I still beg us to go back. We started this podcast with why Ghanaian children have to be taught in their language at school. That's how we started this thing. And I'm so happy a lot of people have gotten to understand it. Worldwide, whether you're in China, in Japan, you're in America, you are in India, you are I don't know where, Arabian countries, everybody is taught in school in their language, all subjects. Science, mathematics, history, everything is taught in the language, in the Chinese language in China, in Japanese language in Japan, in the English language in Britain, in the German language in Germany, in the French language in France. Why shouldn't we be taught in our languages? The sad part is that most of our teachers cannot even speak their languages anymore today. It's very rare to see a Ghanaian make a statement without bringing one word of English in it. It's very rare. For a Ghanaian adult to make a sentence in Ebe, in Twi or Ga without bringing in an English word. It's a very sad testimony. So the vocabulary, some of the vocabulary are just vanishing. They're just decaying without us noticing it because we are not using them. So please, let's try. You see, our forefathers did a lot of observation to create this language that we are using. Let's honor it. You know, these are people who are looking, they were researchers, inquiry, did a lot of inquiry to call the mountain a mountain. Interesting analog, because the mountain is in Ebe language, for instance, it's called a to, which is the same word for the ear. So, and then silence means a tododo. A tododo, it means that the mountain, no matter how huge it is, when it is growing, there's no noise around it. So they go back to simplicity. Even this big mountain growing makes no noise. So what about us? Yes, I hope it's making a bit of sense to my viewers. And I hope to be with you in other podcasts. And as it's a very new thing for me. I'm trying to learn myself. I'm not an expert on media. I'm learning it. And so I hope that we'll be meeting each other in future more, and I'll be getting better and better. So, viewers, we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue. Thank you so much. Welcome back, viewers. I want to continue this talk, bringing a topic that is very, very dear to my own heart, something that I'm missing in our world today. For a reason, it looks as if this element is not very, very important, but I think it's very important to reintroduce it into our midst. This is a notion of pacification. What is pacification? There is something that in Ghana we say when something happens to somebody. We say Baba. In the Volta region, we say Baba. The Ghana will say Bo. The Chu say Kafra. Huse. Well, we are so used to it here. We just say it automatically when somebody gets hurt or something. I remember the first week in Europe, and I was walking outside, and there was a woman walking beside me, and she slipped off. And I said to her, "Oh, sorry," because I didn't know how to say this word in German at the time. In fact, there's no word for it. The woman looked at me, actually very angry. She said to me, "But it's not your fault." So, it is not our fault to pacify somebody. It's not because the person, it's not about whose fault it is. It's just to pacify the soul. Somebody's hurt. I think the best way to talk about this Baba is give your condolence. When something happens to somebody, we give condolence to the person to soften the heart. At this point, I'll tell a very small story that has actually impressed me. It took me all my years. When I was a kid, I was about 6 years old or 7 years old. I remember this very well. Something happened in my township, and all of a sudden the town was split into half because people had to take sides. Two brothers were fighting over land, and it became so huge, this issue, that they had followers. And all of a sudden people were, this one was against the other one was against the other one. So in any case, enmity was very clear. And even as children, the children I used to play with, because their parents were on another side and they thought my parents were on the other side, so friendship stopped. In fact, the whole city, the whole village was full of enmity at that time. So what I know was that it was decided the elders will settle the matter on a certain day. So on that certain day, the whole village was under a tree. Plus the two brothers who had this issue, and I cannot narrate what happened because at such meetings our elders speak most of the time in proverbs, which I do not understand. But what I know was that after long talk, hearing the issue of the two brothers, and I was definitely on one part of I was siding one brother. I think he was mistreated. He had not been treated very well. The elder of the group made a judgment. The judgment was that one of the brothers had to bring two goats. The other brother's family had to bring vegetables, and that on the coming Saturday we were going to sit there and cook, and everybody was going to eat together. So that was the verdict. So I remember going home with my father. I was actually quite distressed because I was actually quite distressed because I thought one of the brothers had not been treated very well because the other one I thought there was injustice there. So on going home with my father, I asked him, I said, but the elders didn't make the right decision. I told him. He said, well, I said, but the other brother was wrong, definitely wrong. He didn't treat his brother very well. So my father held my hand. He said, stand here and look into my face. So I looked into his face and he said to me, let me tell you something. Our culture doesn't know anything about justice. We don't know it. We just don't know what it is. Justice was brought to us by the white man. And when they came with their court with it. We don't do that. I will tell you what we know how to do. We know how to pacify people. And we can do that very well. And so that's what we use. And let me tell you something, he said to me, the day you forget this, that day you no more be part of it, because we didn't know how to handle you again. Pacification is our culture. We just say condolence to the other person, then we eat together in one pot and then we are fine again as brothers. For us it's always about brethren. We are brothers, we are brethren. It's not about right or wrong. We don't care about who is right and who is wrong. We just want to be together as a brethren. So that's what we can do very well, and that's what we do. As for the justice, it belongs to other cultures. They know how to treat that element better than us. So we don't go there. So this notion of pacification, you see everywhere in the world. Everywhere there's so much going on, and people are taking sides. In fact, sometimes it's so cruel to see. I don't know how one human being can be butchered by a whole world because this person is apparently wrong, or I don't know what. So I'm asking myself, we are behaving somehow as if we don't have a heart anymore, as if we only have a mind. So I would like to remind us, talking about virtues, pacification is a very big virtue because it goes to the heart straight. We should be able to feel sorry for our friends, our brothers, our neighbors' sorrows. It's just a smile, maybe a touch on the arm. Just one word. We say here Baba. But that word there's no equivalent to it in English language. Maybe the closest will be condolence. I would say so, not sorry. If you say sorry, it's as if you did something wrong. So this is what I'm talking about. So as for Ghana, we are very blessed with it here. We say everybody says Baba every day. Or Po, or Kuse Kapra. We always say that. And I'm very, very happy to be in such a culture. You see, there was a woman I know, there is a woman I know in Germany. She's a medical doctor. She's from Ghana. Married to one of the few aristocrats of Germany again today. We were friends for a while, and I hadn't seen her for many, many, many years. One day I bumped into her in the city, and we had coffee together. She had lived in Germany for over 50 years. And as we sat there, she said to me, I'm going back to Ghana. I said, how can you tell me you are going back to Ghana? You are German, you have been here, you have a good job, you are a medical doctor, your husband is a medical doctor. What is your problem? And she said to me, Amma, I can sit here and talk to you till tomorrow about why I am going, but it all boils down to one thing. It's because in this city, in this town, in this country, everything matters. Every single thing matters. People put their attention on everything. So there's something we call in Ghana Ajo, or the Evertuzema Wondako Anyu. So you end a story. It doesn't happen here. There's always something going on, and I'm so fed up, I'm so tired of it. I can't find my rest in it. So I'm also introducing to the world, this is something you can learn from Ghana, from the Africans. We know how to console people. It's not because we are stupid, it's not because we don't know our rights, it's just because it's a heartfelt issue. Yes. So condolence is also very important to do. Which leads me to the main topic of this podcast today, which is actually who is the one that is about talking about mind now. I think a lot of people don't know what mind is. When they are talking, they believe they are talking. They don't know it's the mind that is talking. You have no idea that there is something in them called mind. They think they are mind. No, it is not true. So, mind is something, it's an empty boat. Actually, it is your servant. You can sit on it and it will cross you over the waters. But somehow this mind has become a vagabond. And so now it is enslaving its master. The reason why I'm bringing mind in here is because, you see, most of the things we say is from the mind, and the mind only lives on opinions. The mind has got no heart, but you have a heart. We have hearts. We should differentiate between what the mind says and what we say. Anytime you talk to somebody without a heart connect, it is the mind that is talking. So it is the heart that pacifies somebody, which is you. You are the heart. Or we are the heart. So we should pay a lot of attention to this. The mind is an empty vessel on the waters, and it's supposed to carry us across. But somehow we have left it, it has become wild. And it's playing its own game on the waters. And we are now obeying the mind. The reason why I'm saying this is because maybe another time we'll talk more about mind, but today it's very important to know that mind is empty. Mind can do nothing. Mind can only live on opinion, on judgment, because it has itself no connect to reality. So it's the mind that hates. It is the mind that dislikes somebody. It's the mind that is looking for a quarrel. It is not you. Anytime you have a quarrel with somebody, I plead with all of us, just sit down for one moment or stand for one moment and say, am I the one doing this thing? Do I really hate this man? Do I really do that? Then you realize you don't hate it, but your mind is telling you what to do. Yes. So these are little steps. I'm very happy about our situation in Ghana and Africa. We have traveled all over the world, and we are all bringing back into our countries what we learned from outside. So this is what I'm trying to do. This is not a Christian version of something or any other version of any religion. It's just about morality. It's just about people, human beings, and how we can find elements in us that reveal our true nature to us. So dear viewers, please, let's really look at what, if in any situation where there's evil coming, like you have a quarrel with somebody or you hate somebody, ask yourself again, am I the one really who is hating this person? For what reason? And you find that there are two people in you. You have the mind and it's you. And the mind, and so you can, if you start doing that, you find out that your mind will start getting quiet, because now it has seen that you have seen the game, and you can be more free. So to really be who you really are. And now, why am I talking about mind? Because we're talking about African languages, and let me explain to you how mind is called in the Ewe language. Mind is called Susu. Susu has two meanings. One is, of course, mind is, the other one is assumption. It's just assuming things. So the Ewe language, like I said, is a very, very scientific language. It follows this thing called mind. It's just something that's no truth. It just assumes this. It just calls something and says it's true. Yes. And then Susu has got another aspect, which is to miss somebody. Susu, I'm missing somebody. So the mind is always in nostalgia. It's always yearning to get somewhere. It is full of desire when you, for that matter. But you are not your mind. That's what I'm saying. You are not we are not our mind. We should be very, very careful about that. We are not our mind. The mind is our servant. But now it has taken over because we neglected it too long, so it has become a vagabond. So I think this word Susu is, when I get into it and I practice what Susu is saying, it makes me check my day very, very clearly. So I beg of you, try it yourself and see. Mind is always assuming. You see, the thing is this. Mind wants to know. It's very inquisitive to know something. But the moment anybody you know, you will abuse anybody who you know. You can only be careful if you don't know somebody. But if you know somebody, and mind is always knowing that person, analyze the person, knows his habits and all that. So mind is always abusing other people. And I think this word Susu, when I came across it a few weeks ago in Ewe language, I couldn't believe how powerful this word is. Susu means assuming. So if if you have an issue with somebody, check yourself and find, are you assuming it or is it reality? And then if you check that thing 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you will see that the mind will start getting a bit confused. You start living your peace so that you can now have a hard feel towards people. You now start feeling people, not thinking them. Or you don't have to know anybody. Mind wants to scrutinize everything. So, and this mind is the one that has taken us all so far that we are left without. We know that the virtues we have that we're talking about, like patience and modesty and harm, that we have them, because mind is always explaining things to us, how things should be. Like we say, too known. It's very too known. So viewers, like said, this is not a teaching. I'm just sharing my experience with you. I'm not teaching anybody. I don't come from any doctrine. I'm not a pastor. I don't want to be one. I am just sharing experience that I have gathered with the years with you, and you scrutinize it yourself. And the latest that I got to find out is a difference between myself and my mind. I now know that these are two different people that live in me. So if you hear these things and you can work on them yourself and find out, you don't have to believe in now, starting believing, assuming you know now there's mind and there's, so now you know. Please don't. Find it out. If you really want it, you can see it. I found it out. There are two people living in me. Myself, which is my heart, and then there's another person, which is the mind. And the mind is very fast. In every situation, it's got solutions already. It's already, oh, this person is an idiot, don't mind him. Oh, that's what that person is, almost like that. Don't look there. The mind is very fast to give you solutions. But the world is not for solutions. There's nothing wrong in this world. The world is what it is. But the mind has been able to picture the world to us as if we are in a place of discomfort. And now we have become the slaves of mind. Like I said, viewers, please look at these things yourself. It can happen, maybe you have a little episode with a friend of yours that you are in the quarrel. This will be the time, halt for a moment, halt. And ask yourself, do I really disagree with this person? Do I really hate this boy? Do I really? Find out. If you do that 1 time, 2 times, 3, 4 times, the mind will now start to know that you are now checking it. And it will leave you in peace gradually, so you become yourself. So yes, that's what I'm saying. So I'm very happy to have the opportunity to talk to you about my experience. I'll be very happy to hear comments from you in the comment section. We can go on this journey together. Anybody who has something to add onto it, I'm very happy to hear. Anybody who can bring other suggestions that we can talk about, very, very happy to hear about them. I think we are at a very crucial time of our time on the planet. Things are not very good. We still have a war going on in Ukraine, Russia. But like a friend of mine says always, what is that? Let's say, crisis as chance. So we're in crisis, in the middle of crisis now. Let's see what we can get out of it. Let's see what we can make out of the crisis we have. So it's time we cannot push forward because we don't have the means to push forward. So we cannot contemplate together. We can all contemplate together now. So anybody with any other ideas or who is against what I'm saying, has other views to it, please, and I'll be very happy, most of all, to hear of other cultures in the world, not only from the West. I'd like to hear from Asia, from South America, from Australia, from the Arab countries, what their notion is about these things. I think it's time for us to remix the issues. It should not be only Europe saying to us. We know most of the things they know. They have been kind, the Europeans have been, the white or the West have been kind enough to share their knowledge with us all over the years. What about we sharing ours with them now? So this is not something against Europe or the West. It's actually saying thank you to what you've done so far, but this is what we have to offer too. That's what we're doing. So viewers, thank you so much again. I think we are coming gradually to the end of today's session. And I hope to see you in 2 or 3 weeks from today. And like I said, the next topic I'll talk about will depend on the commentary. So I'm going to read your comments and your suggestions, and we take it from there so that we have a continuation, like a flow. So we are doing this together. I thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. Good evening.